Hey everyone, it's Sam Norris here. Welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be talking all about valuations. Hey guys, welcome back. Now before we dive into property valuations, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and give me the old thumbs up on the like button. It really does help me spread the word and let YouTube know that people are actually enjoying these videos. So helps me out, appreciate it. Now, me and Harley over here, little Harley, have been talking a lot about property valuations recently. A lot of my clients actually come to me, instead of talking to me about finances, which is what I do. Harley, come on, we're trying to record a video here. But before they even ask me about their property finances, they often talk to me about how properties are valued. Now, this video is not going to be about commercial yield-based valuations. That is quite a complex subject, and we'll probably dive into that on another video. Today, we're talking really about kind of properties post-renovations, okay? Once a renovation has taken place on a property, whether you're looking to sell it or whether you're looking to keep it. Now, if we're looking to keep it, we call that the buy, refurbish, refinance strategy. If we're looking to buy it, renovate it, and sell it, we call that flipping, okay? So depending on which of those strategies is gonna be what you're focusing on, the way that you will look to probably value your property on the flip side, on the end, post-renovation, might be ever so slightly different, okay? So we're going to basically split this video up into two parts, and we're going to talk about each of those in isolation. So let's kick off with flips. Before we dive into flips, let's have a quick slurp of coffee. Oh. So flips then. How are we going to figure out what our property is going to be worth once we've actually finished renovating the property? Now, contrary to popular belief, and certainly this is not something that a lot of brokers will tell you, I think that the best thing to do is to go and speak to an estate agent. Actually, scrap that, not one estate agent, several estate agents, okay, guys? Speak to quite a few different estate agents. Now, a really, really good little tip here is when you're going to speak to them, effectively kind of give them the impression that you want them to sell the property on the back end, because they're much more likely to give you, a good service, come back to you with a lot of information. A lot of you might be thinking, oh, is that a little bit devious? I don't think it is, actually. I think that you actually are. This is a dress rehearsal for them. This is their opportunity to shine, to prove to you that they should actually be the agent that you're looking to sell this property from. Now, what an agent will do, and this is very, very important, is they are going to base their valuation on what the property could sell for in the future. And that's what you want to know, because you're going to be selling the property in the future, funnily enough, because you've got to renovate it first. So what I would try and bring along to any meeting that you have with an estate agent is going to be as much information about what the property is going to look like on the back end. If you've got drawings, if you've got a schedule of work so they can actually envisage all of these things being done, if you've got if you're going to be changing the floor plan, maybe before and after floor plan, maybe even get your architect to come along to the meeting so that they can really open the mind of this agent and really get them to visualize what this property is going to look like on the back end. If you're going to be changing the property at all in any way, adding, maybe put an extension on the back, and so the kitchen's going to be bigger and you're going to have double doors at the back, give them as much information as possible about that so they can really, really dig down and give you some insight into what the market is going to be looking like, at the moment. They are going to look at the activity in the market. This is key, activity in the market. How many properties that match the description of the property that you're going to sell are actually selling at the moment? How many buyers have they actually got on the books at the moment that are looking for the property that you are going to be selling? That's massively key. One great bit of insight that I would give to any new investor before you're looking to flip properties is actually go and see estate agents before you even found a property. Get an insight into what is in demand in your area of investment. What kind of properties are actually selling. In fact, the term that I use a lot, or what I encourage my clients to use, and actually I think I got this from one of my clients originally, was go to an estate agent and say, if I walk through your door tomorrow, what would be the perfect property that you would be absolutely dreaming of me bringing you to sell? Because they will just tell you, look, if there's a demand for a certain type of property and you're basically saying to an agent, I will bring you this property, that you're a dream to them. That's an easy sell. That's an easy way for them to make money. So, and it also helps you because you know actually what you need to create. So there's absolutely no point. And I've spoken to so many clients over the years that have said, oh, I'm going to buy this property and turn it into a 5-bed house. Well, actually, if there's no demand for 5-bed houses in the area, what the hell is the point? Because you're going to have a restricted market to sell. You want to sell to as many people as possible. You want there to be competition. That's exactly what you're aiming for. So really, really get under the skin of the agent, really understand, not get under the skin, that's a horrible thing to say, but really understand what it is that they are looking to sell at the moment and create it basically, so you can kind of work backwards from there. So just a little tip on how else you can work with estate agents to for your benefit. But the agent is going to talk to you about the demand. They're going to talk to you about, you know, how many buyers they've got at the moment, what kind of competition can be generated, and they're going to use that to give you an idea of not only what they think they should put the property on the market for, but what it will probably eventually sell for, and potentially how long it will take to sell it as well. Because they might even say to you, oh, Mr. or Mrs. Client, your property could be, we could put it on the market for 150. It would probably take 6 months to sell at that price. If we put it on for 140, it might take 2 months to sell at that price. Now you then have to make that judgment call. Is it better off looking at the 140 valuation versus the 150 valuation in order to get your money out quicker, because you could use that money elsewhere? So key things to remember when trying to value your property for flipping is speak to estate agents. They will give you an idea of the demand in the area for the type of property that you're looking to sell, how long it's going to take to sell, and what kind of price that they will put it on the market for, and what they will eventually sell it for. So very, very key, and speak to multiple agents. That is exactly what I would recommend that you do if you're looking to flip your property project. Now, what about if you're looking to keep the property? We call this the buy, refurbish, refinance strategy. Okay, it's very, very popular at the moment, guys. Really, really important for any investor to get an understanding of this strategy, because it really is, I think, the best way to accelerate the growth of a property portfolio. And for those of you that are watching this that have ambitions to build a portfolio that cash flows so that you can effectively replace your income, some people might call that financial freedom. I don't like using cheesy terms on this channel. What am I saying? Of course I love using cheesy terms on this channel. So yes, to get you to financial freedom quicker, the BRR, or buy, refurbish, refinance strategy, is probably going to be the one for you. So really important though is once you've bought, once you've renovated or refurbished, and you come to refinance, what are we going to be using as the valuation for our refinance? This is so important, because if we get that wrong, everything else falls apart. It's so important. So we have to understand the significant difference in valuing a property for BRR versus valuing a property for flipping or selling. Now, to do that, we need to get into the mind. I need to maybe put some scary music behind this. I don't know if my editing skills are that good. We need to get into the mind of a surveyor. Very scary people, because they hold your hopes and dreams in the palms of their hands, or pens, or sheets of paper, whichever you want to call it. They often get it wrong, unfortunately, but let's try and do our very best to get into their minds and understand how they are going to actually value a property. Okay, so they're going to be basing it on what has already happened. Now, you might have picked up on when I said talking about flips that we're looking to speak to agents, and they're going to be basing their valuation on the future. They're going to be jumping in their DeLoreans or their TARDISes, and they're going to be going into the future, and they're going to be looking into what they think the property could sell for in the future. Surveyors, they look to the past, okay? They're going to be looking at what has already sold in the area. They're not going to be worried about what's on the market. They're not going to be worried about what's under offer. They're not going to be worried about what's about to complete in the next few days or minutes. They are going to be basing their valuation solely on what has already sold. Now, there are certain parameters that we need to remember when determining what has already sold in the area. Okay, first and foremost, it's got to be a property that is similar to yours. You're not going to be basing your valuation, if yours is a 3-bed semi-detached house, on what a 2-bed terrace house is. Or, to be quite honest, I see more people doing the opposite. But the properties need to be pretty much like for like, as close as we can to the number of bedrooms, the property type, i.e. 3-bedroom semi-detached versus 2-bedroom terraced or 4-bedroom bungalow. You know, you get my meaning. And also the floor area as well. We can get a rough idea of what the floor area looks like by tracking the EPC register. They're your energy certificates. They basically show, you know, you've probably seen these before, ranked A through to G, how energy efficient your property is. Well, when those certificates are conducted, they will give a rough floor area to the property. So you can actually look on the register for that. You can look up the address and it will give you what they think the floor area is. Sometimes it's, you know, it's slightly out, but you can cross-reference that with things like Zoopla, things like Rightmove, and you can very, very quickly and freely get a real understanding of what the floor area of your property is and compare it to others that have recently sold in the area. Now, let's bring it on to point number 2 then. I just said recent. Recent to a surveyor is within the last 6 months, okay? I have seen survey reports that have property sales comparables, i.e. properties that have sold in the area from outside of 6 months before. However, it's kind of a bit of a, you know, one rule for them and another rule for us kind of scenario. They can use them, we can't, okay? If we're going to appeal a valuation, we won't be able to utilize any sales that have not happened in the last 6 months. So let's use that for our research, okay? So has to be within the last 6 months. So if you're buying now and, you know, you're looking at comparables from last year, it's not going to work, okay? They're never going to be taken into account. Now, I understand that there's going to be a bit of a time difference between when you buy the property and once you've renovated it to when you're going to be refinancing it, but this is the best that we can do at the moment. We can't predict what sales are going to happen in the next couple of months, okay, guys? So we have to look at what the situation is. Now, we can have a chat with a couple of estate agents because there is a bit of a lag time at the moment between when properties are sold to that information being freely available on the land registry, which in turn will be when these sold property prices, I should say, are going to be freely available on the likes of Rightmove. But so yeah, you can speak to some estate agents, I would say, to get an understanding of if there's been any sales in the last couple of weeks. You can add those in because obviously by the time you come to buy and then renovate, chances are they're actually going to be on land registry, which is always helpful. But yeah, we're looking at checking the sold prices on Rightmove, Zoopla, that sort of thing. If you really want to go onto the land registry, you can, but you've got to pay for it. We're looking at free ways to do this at the moment. So that's what I will be doing, is checking out similar properties within the last 6 months. Now, the last parameter that we need to be looking at is area. Now, I would always start by looking at the prices on the road, okay? On the same road as you. Now, some of these roads, especially in certain parts of the country, can be bloody long. So actually, your property might be here and another property might be, you know, 2 miles down the road, in which case maybe that's not going to be very helpful. But start off by looking at the road. If you can't find 3 to 4 comparables within the last 6 months on the road, just keep widening the parameters ever so slightly. Start with 1/4 of a mile, then 1/2 a mile, then a mile. It's not really that beneficial to go beyond a mile, to be honest with you. So if you don't have too many sales comparables within the last 6 months, within a mile of the property that are similar in both quality, floor space, then actually that might be a bit of a sort of alarm bell that goes off to say, actually, are these types of properties selling in the area at the moment? And therefore, are you not going to have enough comparables to, you know, when you come to refinance that property, for a surveyor to actually give you the valuation that you're really hoping to, you know, that so your figures work. But they're the parameters that we're looking at. So we're looking at sold comparables that have happened within the last 6 months, that are in at, you know, maximum within a mile radius, and that have a similar floor plan and definitely the same type of property. So terrace property, semi-detached property, detached property, and numbers of bedrooms as well. So we can build up and do a little bit of due diligence. Now, look, you're probably sitting there going, Sam, that sounds like a lot of hard work. Well, guess what? I'm really sorry to burst your bubble here, but property investing is not the easiest thing in the world, unfortunately. So it is something that you need to do, and these are the sorts of things that the top property investors in the country do, and they become very good at it, very proficient at it, and they are the kinds of things that they're going to be doing every single day of the week. And yeah, the first few times you do it, it's going to take you a little bit of time, but once you start getting used to doing these things, honestly, they will be second nature to you. So just in conclusion then, to summarize what we've been discussing today, valuations, what happens post renovation? Are you going to be looking to sell, or are you going to be looking to hold? Are you flipping, or are you BRRing, buy, refurbishing, refinancing? Depending on which strategy you go down will depend on which type of valuation that you're going to be looking at. If you're flipping, go and speak to an agent and they will give you an understanding of what the future market will look like. If you're BRRing, then think like a surveyor and look at existing sold prices in the area within the last 6 months, and that will give you a much greater idea of what the property is likely to value for when we come to refinance. In my experience, there's usually a difference of between 5 to 10% between the two, with the flipping, with the agents when we're flipping giving about 10% more in terms of value than a surveyor is likely to. So you've got to think in those sorts of terms. Guys, thanks ever so much for sticking around all the way to the end of the video. If you haven't already, and if you have enjoyed this video, please think about subscribing. Please share it with any of your followers on other social media platforms. Please hit the like button and the notification bell, because I am posting videos regularly, and hopefully these will help you out. If you've got any questions on what I've been talking about today, feel free to chuck them into the comments. I always answer questions that are in my comments as soon as I possibly can. Guys, thanks ever so much for watching. I will catch you on the next video. See you later.